There's been some unease in the European Parliament about the recent forging of political forces between far-right parties in France and the Netherlands in the lead-up to European elections in May 2014, not only because of their views on immigration, which some see as intolerant, but because at the center of their political campaign is heavy criticism of the European Union. Ever since the leaders of France's Front National, Marine Le Pen, and the Dutch Freedom Party, Geert Wilders, announced they would jointly participate in the next European elections, there's been renewed concern in the predominantly pro-EU European Parliament that the far-right camp will do well next year.
Traditional parties and the traditional groups in this Parliament are very worried about us working together because they realize that we will gain lots of votes at the next elections, and that they realize that many people are fed up with the way the EU works today.
Against a backdrop of economic strife in Europe and public dissatisfaction with perceived slow handling of the financial crisis, the far-right parties have put Euroscepticism at the heart of their election campaign.
I think there's a concern that there will be a greater number of MEPs here who are more Eurosceptic or indeed Euro-hostile in their attitudes. And, you know, that can come from both sides of the House, and it's a perfectly valid position. I think the real concern is about if that's a mix of racism and Euroscepticism. I think there's a real concern here if that side of the House might get bigger.
Far-right political parties, though, are trying to shed the perception that their views on immigration are extremist.
We are not xenophobes. We want to have immigration under control again. This is something very different from being xenophobic. We have seen that in all the major cities, and mainly in Western Europe, there are huge problems of integration and of mass immigration. We want to put a stop to that.
According to current opinion polls, the Dutch Freedom Party holds 21% of the vote in the Netherlands, and the Front National in France holds 24%. It's thought they might emerge as their country's largest parties in the European elections. These young Europeans visiting the European Parliament told JN1 they don't think the wave of support for far-right political parties will necessarily translate into votes.
I don't think that the right wing will be in power anytime soon. Because the status quo is left at the moment, and I think it'll stay that way.
I will vote in function of what I think is the best for the young people, and I think that extreme right parties don't have a program for the young people.
We're nowhere near campaign season just yet, but the move by far-right groups to unite as the Alliance for Freedom shoots the starting gun rather early. And it's suspected that other right-wing European political parties might join them. Sandra Gottman for JN1 in Brussels.